Welcome to a bonus edition of Church Conversations. Today it's Friday. Normally we do it on Tuesdays, but we're starting to double up because we want to have we got some great friends having some great conversations. And today's conversation is how not to host a guest speaker, or you could say how to host when you don't have the most. It's going to be a great conversation. Honestly, I'm excited about this topic because this is a conversation that I've had personally with other people, and people have had it with me about how to host speakers, how to host even guests, because I think that it's important. And a lot of times I don't necessarily hear it a lot at conferences. It's usually just kind of a phone call. And that's what really these conversations are about, is about conversations with some of our great friends. And we want to talk about, share some secrets, some tips, some hacks, maybe just share some wisdom with how to host people, how to host guest speakers, and having the right perspective and mindset. And so I'm excited. Today we've got a great friend, Heath Corrales. He's the district youth director here in Oklahoma for the Assemblies of God, aka the DYD, and we're excited to have him. But first, I want to say thank you today for watching. For if you're joining us for the first time, or if you're always watching, I want to say thank you. I want to ask you to share, like the video. It's like what I tell my little 4-year-old daughter: sharing is caring. Help us spread the word. So share this video, like this video. Let us know that you're here. Say hi. We want to say hi with you. We want to know that you're watching wherever you are. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has been giving and supporting Free Church Media. We are blown away by the generosity of individuals and churches and organizations as we are growing and building, and everyone that's been giving financially, giving for all those that have been giving content that we can help share with the thousands of churches all across the world. I want to say this before I want to kind of give God a big brag, is that this last month we've had our biggest month as far as website visits and downloads and new users, and that's what we want. We want to help churches be able to communicate the gospel better and to give them the resources, the tools, the graphics, the videos, and so much more. And we've got so much more planned for 2021. But let's go ahead. Let's jump in to this conversation. So please help me welcome the one and only Heath Corrales. What's up, my man?
Hey, what's going on, Chandler, man? Excited to be with you today, man. Thanks for inviting me on, bro.
Of course, I love you. Appreciate you. You've been a great friend. We've had some great conversations.
For sure.
We've been Oklahoma pastor friends. We've been summer camp. Help me get through this. How are we gonna do it all summer? There's just there's just certain things you go through in life, or whatever it's work or whatever, it just draws you closer to people. So I've got quite a few friends in my life that I'm like really, really close with, simply in the fact that we just survived summer camp seasons together. Right. And you're one of them. And so I'm excited for you to be on with us. And you've got your youth fest coming up next, today, like next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey, man, first of all, I appreciate you having me on, bro. And yeah, Chandler's just been a long, long time friend. Even when I was a lowly youth pastor down in Lawton, Oklahoma, man, we connected instantly, man. It's crazy to think it's been that long, bro. Like, what was it? The conference in Atlanta, Genie's conference, like way back in the day.
Oh my gosh. That was 2011, 12, something.
Golly, dude, what the heck?
That's
anyway,
crazy.
It's insane. But yeah, we got our Youth Fest event coming up this weekend. So for those of you that are in the AG world, aka Youth Convention, is what we have coming up this weekend. And man, it's pretty crazy. Man, let me just start by saying, hey, I'm grateful that in the midst of the season that we're in, as far as pandemics and all the fun stuff goes, we're one of the few districts, one of the few networks that, hey, we're still going full steam ahead and doing events for our students. Obviously, taking safety parameters with that, doing the best that we can to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. But man, yeah, we're excited. If I'm being completely honest right now, I feel very unprepared. It's kind of been this whole year's just been a whirlwind, to say the least. Stuff just continually sneaks up on you, and I feel like that's what's going on right now. Hey, but basically everything's in motion. Everything's been ordered, everything's ready to go. And so, man, we're praying for great weather right now, because that's the risk that we're taking this year, man. I feel like above all, God has really kind of called us into a season of taking risks this year, in spite of everything going on. there are so many people that are saying, hey, we can't because of this, but we're saying in our district, in our network, how can we make this possible? So I'm grateful to be
Yep.
a part of a leadership core here at the district that says, hey, make it happen if you can. And so we're trying to make it happen. And so we're just not taking no for an answer, but at the same time, trying to take everybody's safety and keep everybody's safety in mind, and just doing the best that we can to make sure that we're adhering to all guidelines and state
Yeah.
regulations and doing what we can, man. So yeah.
It'd be awesome. I'm proud of you. I think it's important. I think gathering is still important, even, do it
Absolutely.
safely. But I'm excited for you. I'm going to be hanging out with you, and you got some
Come
great
on.
friends coming in from all over the country, and it's going to
Yeah.
be a good time. So today we are talking about hosting guest speakers, and really, honestly, we were even talking about pre-show, and it really comes down to even how you host people, and I think this is a conversation that, and I want to say this, is that we're going to make light of some things. We might make some jokes. Please don't take it personal. As
Yeah.
Christians, let's be unoffendable.
Yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes. We're not trying to, there's no hit list. There's no, we're not trying to come after anyone. But we do want to help some people and give some tips and tricks today. We'll give some practical applications on how to even host maybe first-time people in your church, how to host guests. Maybe you just need to figure out how to host people in your home.
Yeah.
Maybe hospitality is not your strong suit, but that's what's crazy is the Bible talks about how we should be very hospitable people, and how we should even go.
Absolutely.
It should be a competition on honoring and hosting people and loving
Yeah.
people. And so I love this conversation. So as we're going to jump into this, I kind of want to start on, maybe some things like I didn't even think about this, but we're having this conversation, and you've got an event coming up in just a couple short weeks. You've got some guests coming up. Tell me some of the little practical things that you guys try to do to honor guests, love guests, make it exciting, whatever it may be. It might be stuff that you're going to do this time, maybe stuff that you've done in the past. Alucia, I think I lost your voice. Well, hold on.
You there?
There you go.
Oh, sorry, man. I thought I had my phone on do not disturb, but I had a call come through. But anyway,
You're good.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, man, for us, we have some guests coming in, and so man, I think something simple is just figuring out stuff that they're into, things that they like, things that they enjoy doing, and really trying to do our best to make sure that we meet that expectation with them. Communicating to them things that we expect, things that we want from them. Hey, this is the direction that we're going. Can you go this way? And just really just
Yeah.
kind of going above and beyond with communication, but really and truly, not only finding out about things that they like, but what are some things that their kids like, and just taking care of the family. Because ultimately, all these people that we bring in and host, they have families, they have people that are important to them. And so
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes to them when
Good.
you take care of them, but man, what are you doing to take care of their family? I think that's a big thing right there.
Oh, I mean, I think we, when we had some guests in the past, and we always try to, for me, I have the mindset, one, it's kind of like treat people the way that you want to be treated. And honestly, I don't get asked to speak a lot of places.
No.
And so I haven't necessarily experienced a lot of what even how we treat guests. But I do have conversations, and I have friends that I've, heard stories of crazy, awesome stories and crazy, horrible stories
Yeah.
of how they were treated and how they were hosted. And I remember one year we always try to get, the guest speaker a gift. So when they show up, there's, something in the room or something when they get to the church. And so one year I was like, you know what, let's get their kids something. And that his kids were ecstatic, because guess what?
Yeah.
Dad came home with gifts, and
sure.
who are they from? Oh, and so that's honestly, then that we really only did that one time. And it I look back, I'm like, why did we not do this earlier? Why did we not do this? This is because I think the kids thing, you make someone's kids
Oh, yeah.
happy, and everyone everyone loves you. Talk about what are some other things. I know we talked about you kind of mentioned on the communication side. What
Yeah.
are some ways that you guys are trying to, or you guys do it, or you've seen that makes things just a little bit easier?
Well, here's something very practical. This is the schedule for the weekend. This is what's going on this weekend. This is when you are
Yeah,
speaking. This is how long you need to speak. This is obviously, there's a wiggle room and stuff with that, like that. I mean, we don't need to become slaves to the clock or anything like that. But man,
for sure.
people work well when they know they have parameters. They
Yeah.
work well when they know they have structure. So, man, here's this right here. And let me kind of take a little sidebar real quick. Um, and I know this kind of goes without saying from both of us, Chandler, but like we're not experts in this by any means. We're just
No.
trying to get better every single time we do this. And I'm sure I could probably talk on some things that I did not do well in. But
For sure.
thank God for grace and with some of those people. But yeah, man, we just as far as communication goes, hey, here's another. This is where you're staying. This is what time we're going to pick you up. This is who's going to pick you up if you have a
Yeah.
host available, and that way they know that, hey, it may not be you. I like personally picking people up, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
And so, but
Oh, I love
finding
it.
a good solid host, and so, man, again, just that's the other side of it too, man. And again, this can kind of get into a whole other conversation, but man, whoever your host is, man, find somebody with a personality that has it. Well, let me rephrase that: a good personality that can carry on conversation, but at the same time, they're not going to be annoying to these people because again, man, you just kind of get people from all walks of life. But man, so find your quality people
Yep.
to be your hosts. But yeah, so we,
That's
we try
good.
to do things like that, and just really know, like, communicate to them. Hey, this is what we're expecting from the weekend. This is what we want the weekend to look like, and letting them
Yep.
know, hey, this is where we're going to eat on this time, and this, are you okay with that? Just really figuring out if they're good with this kind of stuff, because that's a thing, man. Like, we're living in a crazy world today where people are on all these different diets and stuff like that, and so like taking them to
Oh,
Five Guys or another burger place may not be in their
my
diet,
gosh.
man.
You
And so
keto, you paleo, you vegan, you gluten free, lactose. I mean, it is true. But I
absolutely,
think that I think when you communicate and you're being like, as someone coming in, you're presenting them options. I'm telling you,
yeah,
it makes people feel at ease. So that way, like for me, I think about it like this. I want someone come in. I want it to be easy, peaceful.
for
I want them
sure.
not to have to think about stuff because I want them to be able to get up on stage, or whether it's a leaders meeting or whatever it may be, what leading worship, that they're at their best, that they feel at ease, they feel ready to go, and there's not any added stress or pressure. I want to say on the I haven't even thought about this, but on the host thing, oh my gosh. Okay. We actually we would actually write out for a host just kind of some guidelines on like what to do and
So
what
smart.
what not to do. And I think that's great. I always try to make sure that there are role descriptions and how to's for
Yeah,
everything, so that way your team knows the expectation. Just simple stuff like make sure the car's washed, make sure the car's clean, make sure the car's not smelly. If you got
yeah,
to rent a car, like you can rent a
exactly.
decent car for like $30 a day. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like get on kayak or something, and find someone that's got a big old SUV. I mean, especially down here in the South, when everyone driving around in
yeah,
Suburbans and stuff. I think that stuff matters. Having waters and snacks in the car,
for sure.
having like our rule was always just have worship music on. I don't know, you just never know. Like I enjoy some hip hop, but you probably just like just have worship music on.
For
Any
sure.
worship music is better. But yeah, I think that's a very 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 good point. And I want to say, for those of you watching, we're going to talk about a few things. If if you have questions about anything,
Yeah.
we also have some forms, and even and we can kind of get into this as well. I was talking to Joseph Kellogg too. He was DMing me, and he sent me one of their forms. And we always have a form that we send guest speakers, and then some places that I've gone will I'll send guest speaker, or I'll send the church or wherever I'm speaking, just so I may that that I'm clear, they're clear, everyone's on the same page, because communication is key. And
Absolutely.
so keep talking about, as I want to hear some more things. You're talking about the host, and you like
Yeah.
hosting and all those things.
Yeah.
Your conference is coming up. Just talk about some other things that you've done, you guys are planning for, to make sure that your speakers, your guests, are they feel the best and welcomed above
Absolutely.
anything.
I think another thing with the pickup thing as far as hosting goes is you will run into some speakers that, dude, they just want a rental car themselves and drive
Yep.
themselves. I don't know how much you run in that too when you in your experience, but like it's pretty common with us now. Like a lot of our guys, they're familiar with a lot of people here in Oklahoma. They got a lot of friends here in Oklahoma. And so they're just like, hey, can I just get my own car? And the times that I'm speaking, I'm gonna go visit so and so. And hey, we leave it up to them, man. But I think another thing too is just like, again, we not let them know where they're staying. And man, listen, I know everybody's budgets are different, but man, you don't have to go to the extent of like like the most five-star hotel. But man,
No,
I mean, probably stay in like the range of Hilton or Hampton Inn. Get them a nice place to stay. You know what I'm saying? And
for
that's the other
sure.
thing. When they walk into the hotel room, man, you don't have to have all these extravagant gifts, but like a a gift basket would be nice with snacks, or even like, man, we talked about this before, like just a case of water. That
Yeah,
that just something. Like this that way. Because I mean, here's the thing, man. Again, I know everybody's on different diets and everybody eats at different times, but man, hey, speaking is a very tiresome thing. And sometimes you just want like a little snack after you're dropped off the hotel, you're thirsty, you're hungry. You don't here the goal is like you're hosting them. And fact of the matter is that this probably will happen somewhere along the way, but you want to eliminate any possibility of them spending their own money. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so
agree.
that's what you want to do. Again, I know everybody's budgets are different, man. And this isn't a thing to say, hey, you need to up your game on this and that. And when it comes to money,
Yeah,
but still at the same time, man, like we said it before, hospitality speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying?
for
And
sure.
so that's just one thing. We just make sure that, hey, if they want their own rental car, we make that happen. We also make sure that, hey, let them know that this is where they're staying. And we try to make sure that the accommodations are nice. The other thing is like we find out like, hey, do you want after you're done speaking, like, do you just want us to take you back to the hotel? Do you want to hang out for a little bit? And don't get offended if they say, no, I'm tired. I want to go back to the hotel. There's nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, but again, it goes back to the communication. But if you had something else in mind, like talk to them beforehand. Hey, man, I get that, and I want to help you out. But are you cool if like we just do maybe just 10 minutes of walking around and shaking hands, and just
Yeah.
communicate that beforehand? Don't drop that on them when they're there, because that's when you create frustration. I think one thing we learned again,
Yep.
there's the expectation, and then the other side of it is frustrations, and
Yeah.
you'll immediately swing the frustration with yourself and with these people if you don't communicate. And so communication is the thing that kills frustration and keeps us on the good level of expectations. And so anyway, man, that's just one thing that we just try to talk to them and let them know everything that's going on. And again, we don't get offended if they say, hey, I'm tired. These people travel the country all the time. These people, a lot of them now, like your premier speakers, are pastors, and
Yep.
they're getting away for the weekend. They're getting away just to be with you, and so like, man, make sure if they're tired, if they want to go back, be as accommodating as you possibly can, so that's what we try to do. And
Yeah.
so, well, especially let's talk about COVID for a minute. Like when we were one of the few districts this year, and I'm very grateful for this. They actually got to have camp this year. And so one thing
You
I
guys pulled it
communicate,
off like some bosses. I like.
bosses, I don't know about that, but
Hey, you made it happen though. You made it happen.
hey, dude, it's a good thing I already shaved my head and have no hair because I probably would have lost it after this year anyway, man. I got more
Oh,
gray right here after this
oh,
one
dude,
too.
I got a lot of grays for sure.
But anyway, man, so like one thing I communicated to my speakers is like, hey, I have no expectation of you sticking around. I don't want you to get sick. You have a family that you're going home to. So, dude, if you want to duck out the back door after you're done preaching, after the altar call is done, man, just go. Like
Yeah.
now it's a matter of safety. And like, I had a few guys that were like, oh no, dude, I want to hang out with kids. I'm good. I'll wear a mask. You're like, okay, great. But the ones that said, yeah, I think I'm going to take you up on that, I wasn't offended. And that's the thing. I said the same thing to these people that are coming in this weekend, because we're still living in it right now, and they still got to go home to families. They got to go home to churches that they're running, and so like, how inconvenient it is that, hey, something happens and they got to go quarantine for 14 days, and so you don't want to be that guy, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, man, it's just something that we're looking at, but clear communication of when they're going to be speaking, what you want them to talk about, where you want them to go, again, it's communication. We have to let them know what we expect. And at the same time, like, let them speak to you what they expect of you, man. It's a two-way road when it comes to the communication side of things.
That's so good. And again, I want to remind everybody watching, if you want one of those forms, we can send you some example forms that you can just copy and paste, and you can just use something like, Google Forms or Typeform, or there's a bunch of free stuff out there. But we can, if you want one of those, just email me, and I can send you some examples that you could use that makes it really simple. So when it comes down, we did talk about this, but when it comes down to how we treat people in hospitality, like, I would say it comes down to, how do you treat people when they come to your home? How do you treat first-time guests when they come to your church? And so why don't you talk about a little bit kind of about that correlation, and what that might look like in kind of some simple examples.
Well, I think that's a great question to ask yourself right now. Let's look inward for a minute. Man, if you want to be a great host for guest speakers, if you want to be a great host for people to come into your church, like, how are you taking care of the first-time guests in your church right now?
Yeah.
How do people feel when they walk into your home right now? Because honestly, and again, I'm not trying to be harsh or mean towards anybody right now, because I don't think Chandler would let me on if I was doing that. But but it's something we got to ask ourselves, because like, because here's the thing, the way we're taking care of our first-time guests and the way we take care of people that come into our home for the very first time is a direct reflection of how we're going to take care of guest speakers. I mean, I think it's the truth. And here's the thing. You have the goal is the same for both types of people, your special guest speakers and your first-time guests. The end goal is this: you want them to come back. Hopefully, you would think so. Yeah. You want them to come back. And your first-time guests, and even your guest speakers are the greatest word-of-mouth business right there. They're the ones that are going to, because here's the thing, these guest speakers, these guys who are connected with all these other guys at all these different churches, they talk about us. They talk about how they felt. They talk about how people treated them when they came to your place. And that's going to help make the decision for these other guys. Now, again, hear me, man. We haven't been great at this. I mean, we try every single day.
No, there's always room to improve.
Absolutely. But here's a funny story, man. We for our camp a year ago, man, like, we had when we did our very first retreat out there, when we took this position, we've only been in this position for almost a little over 2 years now. But we were youth pastors for a long time. And anyway, when we took this position, one of the first events that we did on our own was our pastor's kids retreat. And we brought in a speaker, and we have a cabin out on our campground that, our speaker stayed in. I didn't hear a word about it, man. I thought everything was all good. I thought everything was great. And so anyway, man, so we decided, hey, we're going to use this cabin for our upcoming camp season. And, some of the people we had in there, man, like, dude, they were amazing. And let me say this, we made it right. Like, the cabin's old. It's not in the best shape. And so like, and so we're doing, like, right now we're working on ways to kind of spruce it up and make it look nice, because again, it's a budget thing, and your budgeting can be spent very quickly with all these different hotels and stuff. So you're trying to look for cost-effective ways to take care of people and still make them feel welcome. Well, one of these guys, man, they're like, and if I told you who it was, you would think, oh, this is the greatest. He is the greatest person in the world, man. But he's just like, hey, dude, I'm really not trying to be that guy. But
I would have said the same thing. I'd have been like, hey, I'm allergic to wood, so I can't stay in that cabin.
Well, he's like, dude, I don't know what's going on, but like, I think an animal got a hold of something underneath the house last night, and yeah, can we get a hotel? And they're like, bro, yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry.
Oh
Like,
my
and I'm like,
God.
I'm turning red right now thinking about it, dude. It's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. But you just look at things like that, and you think, man, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. But again, it was a gap that we saw. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a great piece of property, but let's update it if we can. Let's make it look nicer if we can. And hey, that way we know next time. In the meantime, let's stick with hotels. You know what I'm saying? But that was just kind of one of those things that we looked at. But hey, don't get offended when that kind
Well,
of stuff happens. So I mean,
and we would even a lot of times, if depending on the relationship, I would always ask them afterwards, hey, how was the room? How was the
yeah,
hotel? How was the host? How was like, and I would say, and I would try, and I would be honest, like, you're not going to hurt my feelings because like we're doing our best. And I think it too, I want to encourage somebody. Maybe you're like, you're like, well, we're not a huge church or huge ministry. I'd like to have
yeah,
some, maybe a guest speaker in, or, whatever, you're going to have one. Maybe it's a friend or whatever it is. Maybe it's just even you're like one of your pastors on staff or something. You should treat your staff and your team well as well.
yeah,
But what was I gonna? Oh, yeah, but I would ask, like, I would debrief because I want to do my best. And again, this comes down to just excellence. Excellence for me is doing the best with what you have.
absolutely,
And I had a friend that they did, and they're in a bigger church, but they hadn't had a lot of guest speakers in, and they were hosting their conference, and they had a couple people come in, and so he was like, hey, what should I do, whatever, and so we walked through all of it, and he
yeah,
just didn't know. And honestly, we talked through some tips and tricks, and dude, he crushed it. And so I want to encourage people, like, listen, it's not about like extravagant or going over the top.
yeah,
You got a budget, you got to do what you can do, but always be getting better in how you treat people and how you treat, first time guests. Like, I mean, I know many churches, like, do you have a gift? Do they get a thank you card for coming? Do
yeah,
they get something to follow up? Are they, is there ways that you're making them feel welcome and again, and having them come back? I mean, I think about when I have people over my house,
yeah,
like, I'm going to ask them, hey, this is what time, hey, what time are you good with dinner? Well, we were thinking about this time. Hey, we were thinking about cooking this. Are you okay with that? Would you
yeah.
prefer something else? Or giving them some options. And like, that's just like that's what I do with when my sister comes over, because she doesn't really like meat. And so I know that I'm going to have to probably, but I'm asking and giving the people the preference, so when they come in, they feel welcome and they feel at home. And so
Absolutely.
I love that. Give me some more. Oh, you know what? I was going to say this. So, um, I have definitely been in situations where, you know, kind of just show up and I'm just, wander around until I'm supposed to speak or whatever. And honestly, like, I don't, for me as someone who gets invited, my expectations are always, I'm just blessed and honored to be there.
For
So
sure.
anything above, me having the opportunity is fine. Um, and I'm never going to complain about that. But I will say, as far as us, we had one time, and I'm pretty sure that whoever the person who did this, I won't say his name, Garrett. He was he was actually driving one of our cars to pick up a guest speaker, and he literally got into a car wreck,
Oh no.
and it wasn't too bad, but what was brilliant about this is the way he pulled up the car is that the guest speaker wasn't able to see the damage, which is brilliant. Gets
That
back
is
to the church, the guest speaker has no clue, and then like the bumper had like gotten to the tire tread, and literally it was like about to pop. It pushed the bumper into the tire. But then afterwards, he's supposed to go to another church to have another meeting, and this church has a couple locations. Well, the guest speaker didn't know which location, and Garrett, excuse me, the guy didn't ask for clarification, and ends up driving to another campus, like all the way across town.
oh
He's
my
late.
gosh.
I can tell I can tell my friend he's such a nice guy, but he was so frustrated because he was just texting
Sure.
me like nonstop, and I'm like, oh no, oh no, and I'm just apologizing and apologizing.
Oh
And honestly, I don't
man.
know. That might have been the last time I actually talked to him. So
But that's the thing, man. Like there's going to
it
be
matters.
times where you have like just where things don't go as planned. Does anything ever really go as planned? You know, and like
No,
we just got to prepare for those kind of things. And but like all we can do is just the best that we can is make it up to him and being as apologetic as we can. You know, and just I mean, we got to work with people on here because again, most of your guys that you're inviting in, most of them like your premier speakers today are pastors, and so man,
yeah,
they got 1,000 things going on. You know what I'm saying? And for some of these guys, man, punctuality is a huge thing to them, and they think it's a direct reflection of them when we don't, when we're not getting them to places where they need to go and all that stuff. But yeah, man, I think it's just we learn from our mistakes, but at the same time, we have to understand like the way we treat our first time guests, the way we treat people coming into our homes is going to reflect how we bring in special guests. And you know, and so like again, we want to make sure like is the way I'm portraying our ministry and the way we're
yep,
portraying our church is that the reflection that we want people to see. And so anyway, man, that's
absolutely. No, I think I do. I think it's huge. I want to talk about another thing. I want to talk about honorariums, and this is
yeah,
another thing that can be a little tricky. And I know sometimes people feel they get weird about money, and
yeah,
I've heard different perspectives about how whatever. One, I want to start with this. First, it's called an honorarium. It's not a paycheck. It's an honor. So if someone's coming in, that is a way that you honor them. So okay, I get that you might not have a big budget and you
yeah,
might not have much. So if you're going to ask someone, you got to be upfront. If they accept, that's great. If you're doing the best that you can,
yeah,
that's great. That's all that matters. Um, but if you're just telling people this is what you're going to pay them, that's not honor, and that's not an
absolutely.
honorarium. That's just you saying we're just going to have a transaction here.
Yeah,
And so, and you mentioned this earlier, but communicate, ask them, give them opportunity to say, yeah,
yeah,
I can do that. No, I can't, because if people know your heart, I mean, there's a lot of times where I would ask guys, hey, this is all I can do. I wish I could do more, like I really do, but I can't. Are you okay with that? And then I would try to make up on the back end with doing some other things to make sure that
yeah,
they feel welcome. Because honestly, I think that the way you treat people speaks even louder than the amount of honorarium that they get.
yeah,
And I think you can overcompensate, or make up for by how you treat them in the hotel and the
totally,
food and the hosting
totally.
and stuff like that. But I want to talk a little bit, just kind of that perspective. Like, what is your perspective when it comes to an honorarium? And maybe what are some things that you've learned or you've shared with some people on how to kind of approach this topic?
You know, again, you said it all comes back down to communication. You know, most of the speakers that we bring in now, when you fill out their speaking request form, they not all of them, but a good chunk of them have like an expected honorarium, and so that's good on their end that you know, oh, okay, this is what they're expecting. But again, it goes back to communication. Like there have been times like we've looked at that set honorarium, and we're just like, ah, oh, man, like I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it to be that high. But you go back and say, will they accept this? And let me just kind of say one side of that. If they say no, don't get offended by it, man. It's nothing personal. Like it's just, it's
Uh,
okay. This is what, again, these people that we're bringing in, um, man, some of these speakers, you know, are very sought after speakers. Again, some of them are pastors. And so they have they don't have a lot of margin in their schedule. And so
yep.
like, not, not to say that they're only doing it for the money, because that's not the case. It isn't. But like, if they accepted every speaking request,
Uh-oh. Then you got another phone call.
am I back?
Heath, you get another phone call?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, dadgummit. I thought I put my phone on do not disturb. Anyway, I'll have to get a can you see me?
No, not yet.
Well, you can hear me, so I'll just keep talking. Will that
All
work?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So man, basically like what can I like I was saying, man, like don't get offended over it. And don't don't get mad if like, that if you feel like, well, that's a ridiculous amount to ask. If they accepted every speaking request they had, they would never see their families. That's just all there is to it, And
Yeah.
so, so on that side of it, man, like I try to meet that ask that they have, and I communicate to them. But at the same time, I make up for it in other ways. Again, with the way we're hospitable, but like for us, and man, we want to cover travel. You know what I'm saying? We do our best not to have to roll it into the overall honorarium that they're giving them, but we want them to know that, hey, we're covering your travel. That's an expense that you don't have to worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And hear me, man, that's just something that we do. I know not everybody can do that, but that's when you get into the I hate to use the word negotiation, but that's what you have to do. You have to negotiate and say, hey, I'm going
Well,
to
you're
cover this.
communicating expectations.
Absolutely.
Like again, I think it's and again, I think it's for me. You got to keep that perspective of like it's an like you want to honor people and treat people as best as possible, and
Yeah.
and not I'm not like that when people have this perspective like, oh, you're coming in and it's an honor for you to be coming into our church. Well, that may like when I go places, I do have that feeling, but I'm not going to treat people like that. I'm going to make sure that I'm treating them above and beyond because I'm honored to have them a part. And so you just gotta check your perspective and check your heart, and because the way that you treat people matters. The way that you treat your family, the way that you treat guests, all those things, it matters. And I think that's why it's good to have expectations. It's good to do some research. It's good to ask other pastors and churches, how do they do it. And Heath is back. Here we go.
What the heck happened, man? Okay, anyway.
All right, we're also gonna take up an opportunity. We're gonna give everybody an opportunity to give, so Heath can get a new camera. We can get him if nothing else, we'll just get you, a little webcam. They're like $50. I'll
I
get you
know.
a
I'm gonna go
webcam.
buy one after this. I'm gonna go buy one. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go buy one after this.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Bro, you do a show every week. I mean, you gotta have,
I
you need to
know.
gotta get you a
Hey,
setup, bro.
well, I thought I put my phone on do not disturb. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm so
I don't
sorry.
even. No, don't
You're
apologize. I'm
being a
just giving you a hard time.
fantastic host, by the way.
Bro, dude. It's with technology. You never know, and it's like so hard to do live shows when you don't know. It's like, what device are they on? How's their Wi-Fi? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I even if my Wi-Fi, like I literally have the bit like the whatever the fastest Wi-Fi, like cable. My God, the best Wi-Fi there is. I have it because I just don't play
Cable
around.
router.
Just too. Yeah, like actually need a new router. But I'm literally going to go buy you like at least a webcam.
Don't do it. I'll get one next time.
I don't
Hopefully you'll
believe
have
you.
me
I don't
back. We'll
believe you.
see.
I don't believe you. I'll send you the setup. You'll be good.
There you go.
Anyways, so we're talking about honorariums. I think
Yeah.
that's fine. I think do as if you're inviting someone, do your best. As someone who gets to travel a little bit, I actually don't. I don't necessarily, if someone asking
Yeah.
for a recommendation or like what do you require, I don't require anything.
Yeah. I'm the
I
same.
will, if they need a suggestion on what I'm looking for, I can give them a number. But honestly, for
Yeah.
me, God's always taking care of me. It's funny
For sure.
because I've been some places where I was expecting more and I was a little surprised, but then I've gone some places where I didn't expect anything, and it was
Yeah.
like, wow. But I want to say this is that just to give some perspective to people, and because people might be like, oh, this is, I don't know. People get uptight about, oh, that's too much, and why are we spending all this money? I think about it like this. I think that if you're having someone come speak, that they probably have a gifting or an anointing, and there's a reason why you're having them to come speak.
Yeah.
Hopefully your motives are right on that. But I just want to say that it makes a difference. I've definitely hosted more people than I've actually like gone somewhere or whatever. But there's been a couple times in my life where I've gone somewhere and their hospitality and their honor and their generosity was it was so much that I was like blown away. Like it was shocking. Like I felt blessed.
Absolutely.
Like and this one church, like I felt blessed just being able to be a part.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? And then I was just like, you guys are like, wow. Like, and I'm saying that to say it makes a difference when you treat people like that and when you host people like that. It speaks, like, and I'm not even talking about the honorarium amount. The honorarium amount was awesome, but it was everything else that made me like I felt like what this is like, and so, and I say that to say like how in that moment I realized how how I treated people when they came in, how much of a difference that made. And so it actually challenged me to do some things better and more and take the rooms to the next level,
Yeah.
like, it's like instead of just doing a basket in one area, we would like, put our church merch, like hang it up. And then we put like the waters in one section and then put the snacks over here and then put the stuff in the refrigerator and leave them a note that says, hey, surprise in the refrigerator. And like, I mean, like, one of the things that I've heard people do, and that even Chris Moore did, is like putting pictures of the families when they walk in. It's like they're at home.
Oh, I love it,
It's like,
dude.
oh, they're picture,
That's awesome.
like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just little things like that you can do. Like, they don't even cost that much.
No,
It's just sitting down and taking some time and making it happen. So,
absolutely. I
yeah,
mean, it's just the thing, the little things count the most. Every little thing that you can do to make them feel welcome, they're going to make up. I mean, that's going to make up for it. And again, man, it's we want to honor the root word of honorarium is honor. We want to make sure we're honoring their time. We're
yeah,
honoring everything that they're doing for us, man, because again, they took time out of their schedule to come be with
yep,
you. And so, man, honor that the best way you can. And again, if it's one of those things that they just say, "Hey, I can't do it for that," don't get offended. Please don't get offended. They don't mean anything by it. I can speak for a lot of these guys on their behalf.
oh,
It's just, hey, again, if they accepted every single request that came through their email, they would never be home and they'd never see their family. So they have to limit those things, and that's one thing I had to learn early on with this. Because I'd be lying to you if I didn't turn my nose up and like, really, they want that much, But like, it is what it is, man. And but this is just kind of that's how it goes, and um, you don't have to
yeah.
like it, but that's the thing. If you don't like it, then don't bring them in. That's just all there is to it. I mean,
Yeah, and I think one of the things, and if someone's like, well, I want some more, biblical background, whatever, I could probably quote a few scriptures, but I would. There's a great book by I've talked about it many times, but there's a book that John Bevere has written. He actually just kind of redid it, re-released it. It's called Honors Reward, and I would recommend that any pastor, leader, honestly, any Christian read that book because it will blow your mind. And what I love is because in that book, John Bevere talks about how like these situations and how he's treated and how they treat guests, and he said that most of the time, most places he goes where the honorarium is good, large, where the hospitality, the hosting is good, they usually the services are anointed, usually the
mhm.
church is growing, usually the church is doing
So
big
good.
things. And I that correlation, like when I remember when I was reading that book and I stopped and thought about it, and I was like, man, that's true. Like that really is. Some of the churches that I've gotten to go to, the ones that have been the most generous are actually like really, like they're moving forward, they're reaching people, they're serving their cities, they're loving people. It's like, oh, okay. So and it's all for me. It's all comes back to sowing and reaping, and it's better to give than to receive. And some of those very simple principles. Um, let's what other things are you, as you're preparing for your conference next week? What are some other things that maybe something you've added or done differently, or that you've realized like, oh, this is something that we want to do? I know you mentioned like how, like, I just love the fact that like your wife
Yeah.
gets on Instagram or social
Oh
media
yeah.
and is looking around and okay, what do they like that's brilliant. It takes a little bit of time, but guess what, that doesn't
Yeah.
cost you any money. That's just taking some time to
No.
learn about the people. Anything else that you guys are doing?
Yeah, man. Like again, I guess you could call this. My wife is a borderline stalker. but she likes to she likes to see what's going on in their life. And like, man, again, we talk about just the little hacks and the little things that we can do, especially when it comes to gifts and taking care of their kids. But like, Alicia, man, she's just on that stuff. So we had a speaker come in probably a couple years ago that just had a baby. And so she like got all these new baby clothes and stuff for them.
Oh yeah.
It's just, but it's just like little things like that, I mean, or I think the wife was actually still pregnant, and so it was just like, so
Yeah.
she just thinks a step ahead. And so that's kind of like our mentality. That's the question we ask ourselves. It's like, all right, when it comes to our hosting, what's a step ahead that we did this last
Yeah.
time that we could do more of this time? And that's kind of what we're looking at right now with our camps. Our camp is like out in the middle of nowhere, and so it's just, so there's not really like a whole lot of room to like, let's go eat at this place because it's like 30 minutes away, and
Yeah.
so what we're trying to do now,
Hard to Uber out there.
it they'll get lost. It'll take you on the Egyptian road somewhere,
You guys got Uber Eats out here? You guys got no Postmates? Okay.
We have Good American Pizza, or like what, the Great American Pizza. What is that? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, or what's the other gas station one? The John
Simple
not
Simons.
Papa John's, but like yes.
Simple
Hey,
Simon. Hey, dude, I've
bad
had
night.
many,
I'm down.
come on,
You know what I'm saying?
come
Like,
on, dude.
keep
No,
going.
but
Sorry.
anyway, you're great. So like right now, look, we're taking our camps, for instance. We're trying to create some sort of hospitality room that our guest speakers, our worship team can go sit in, and it's got like, I mean, everything you can imagine. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just
love it.
it's
I
a
love
great
it.
place to chill. So it's like, okay, we did a good job with hosting this time. Now, how can we take it a step further?
Yeah.
And so one thing, we're doing our event at Victory Family Church, and for those of you that have ever been to Victory Family, it's an amazing facility.
Oh, shout out to
Absolutely
the
amazing.
Starlings. They're
Absolutely.
amazing.
It's an amazing facility. So we were blessed with this. And so, we're taking their green room right now and just like putting all these different things in it, and taking care of our volunteers there, and just, again, making
I
sure
love it.
that they feel welcome, that this is and that's the thing. You talk about a church that's killing it on hospitality. Victory Family kills it on hospitality. So like they kind of just, they do the flex for us, you know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
it's been great. So again,
Well,
it's just kind of
I'll
looking
say
at
that's a
things.
good point, and that kind of made me think. This is something that we really focused on the last couple years. Is like not just taking care of like guests, and not taking care of the people that are coming in or first time guests, but like we just really started to focus on taking care of our staff and our volunteers better. Because it's
Totally.
amazing, like when you take, like if you take care of people, people want to be on your team.
Absolutely.
They want to be around you. Like, I mean, it's just like if you're someone that when when people come over your house, like you've got the snacks and the drinks and you're like people want to hang out with you. And so I would challenge a leader or a pastor, if you've got a team, are you taking care of your volunteers? Do you have a place or a space for them to get snacks? Are you throwing parties for them? Are you making the experience for them better as well? Are you
Yeah.
doing that with your staff? Like I mean, really taking care of your staff and giving them, what do they like? What do they like to drink, or what snacks do they like? All that stuff matters. And when you start to add that into your teams, man, people want to come back to your church. People want to be on your team. People love working for you. People love working with you. I mean, it's just it really makes a difference. And even if you're just leading a small volunteer team or you got a small staff, I mean, even if you're at a job, like what are your people you work with? What do they like? What are they
Yeah.
into? When's
Yeah.
their birthday? Like it's and when you start doing that, when you start looking at every opportunity or in every relationship to be a blessing, to be generous, to be honoring, man, I think it speaks values to who you are. So but yeah, I want to say appreciate you, Heath, appreciate your
Sure.
relationship, appreciate
Yeah,
your
man.
friendship. I love your I love your wife, and she's amazing, and she's a ball of energy. She's definitely if it wasn't for her, I don't know where you'd be. Same with
That's
me though. It's just
absolutely.
like you gotta marry up.
That's it, bro.
I'm gonna
That's
say
it.
as we wrap up, last week we had Chris Moore on, and I'm excited about that because he is launching his beta testing for his influencer program. Make
He's
sure you
awesome,
go over
dude.
to the Youth Pastor Roundtable and check that out. And then next week we've got some crazy crazy, awesome shows coming up. And next week on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about cultivating a healthy creative culture with my friend Julian Garcia from Worship and Creative. He's got an amazing Instagram, amazing leader. We're going to be talking about just a healthy creative culture. And honestly, I don't know about you, Heath, the tension between like the pastoral team and the creative team. There's all I don't know why, but it happens.
It's there.
I think it's funny. I've experienced. We're also going to be having Nathan Finocchio is going to be on the show.
Oh, dude, I love him.
Coming up, and then we got my friend Josh Whiting. We're talking about some graphics. He's launching a new masterclass. Micah Mack's going to be coming on. Grayson Bearden. After that, I've got my good friend Hannah coming up. I mean, we've got like months booked. Like we're doubling up. It's going to be a crazy October, November. So I want to make sure you stay tuned, like, share. Make sure you're following what's going on. And Heath, can't wait for next weekend for
sir.
Youth Fest 2020, aka Youth Convention.
Let's
it's going to be
scratch the 2020. I don't want anybody to remember this year for anything, dude. I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
Anyway,
vision, your 2020 vision. By vision, you got two black eyes and you can't see anything.
That's about right.
Yeah. So it's going to be. So I want to say thank you. Can't wait to hang out next week, Heath. Look forward to having you on. Again, if you're watching this, make sure to drop a comment and email me if you would like to have these forms, whether it's guest forms or some other things. Man, we'd love to help you out, answer any questions that you may have. We have a lot of resources. Even if I don't, I'll go steal it from someone else and give it to you. I'm totally okay with that. But thanks for joining us. Peace out. Until next Tuesday, we will see you in the comments. Thank you again for being with us. Peace.
Love you, bro.
Love you.